So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Briefing. And thank you so much for making the effort to be here today. I hope you all had a good weekend and ready for the week ahead. I'll start first just by acknowledging the fact that Sister Emma, I saw you came into the meeting. I also just listened to your voice note. We are very, very happy that you are up and about again. And as you said, they took your laptop, your phones, your money, but they didn't take your life. And for that reason, there is still a lot of hope. There's still a lot that you have to achieve. And we thank God that you are still up and around and you are back, you are connected. And thank you so much for getting back to us because we were getting a bit worried. Um, and for our brothers in Malawi, I got to speak to a few of the members in Malawi, and it's not completely settled, but at least it's not as bad as it was last week. We continue to look and pray for you guys out there, and we will get to a better place. This is a very, very difficult time, but we will get to a better place. So today we are going to just be very, very simple in the approach that we would take. We would just go back and take a look at what we introduced last week Friday, and we didn't get to engage quite extensively with the members who were in the room. So we would give space for everyone who has a question, because maybe through the weekend there's been some reflections. Because remember, all the tools, all the models and the structures that we are putting in place, we are creating them together. So there could be something that you would have thought of which we have not thought of thus far. So we would open that up for any questions, anything that anyone in the community wants to say, and we'll keep it that simple for today. Good evening, Dr. Linus.
Good evening, Brother. Good evening. Good evening to all the leaders in the house, and welcome everybody to this session. Greetings. All protocol observed. We continue to gather because we believe as a community that the time is right for us to address certain challenges that impact a lot of people within our communities. The first one of those is exclusion. The second, of course, is the need to use a singular instrument for exchanging value across all the 54 countries within continental Africa and wherever we may be within the diaspora. The need for that is so critical that within continental Africa, with a single market, we are struggling with over 40 different currencies, compounded by the challenges of financial inclusion. Many will not be able to participate in the new digital economy, even within the common market, if we do not act now, if we do not adopt an inclusive strategy and put in place a singular instrument for exchanging value in order to drive trade. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we continue to gather. That's why this movement continues to go from strength to strength, so that we can tackle these challenges of our time in our time. On that note, of course, we presented some very important developments last week And as Brother Lee said, I think today would be a great opportunity to get some feedback and reflect on it and see whether indeed we are moving in the direction that enables us to meet the aspirations of delivering inclusive access and ensuring that we have a common instrument of exchanging value that's accessible to all. So on that note, I'm going to hand the mic back over to Brother Mbi so that we can continue on this session. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thanks, Dr. Linus. Thanks, Dr. Linus. So I'm just going to go quickly, just reviewing what we shared. We shared with you that we are now going to enforce a trade AKL, AKX trade on the platform, which would allow people to be able to trade in AKL, or AKX, whatever the case may be. And in doing that, we're using one product as the example, which we are going to use, and we would build up from this one product by introducing other products and other tools that everyone is going to be able to use, right? So we introduced 5 different ways in which you could get your mailbox, and we laid an emphasis on the 4th and the 5th point, bearing in mind that that is actually what we would want to guide the community mostly to use. But we are not restricting anyone from using the first 3 options. So the first option is actually acquiring a mailbox by direct single purchase. That, for you to do a direct single purchase of the mailbox, it will cost you 20 LUMI, and you can only get that transaction done on Connect and on account. And you can only do it for yourself. You cannot buy this product and retail it. By the way, if you try to buy it and retail it, it becomes too expensive for you. It becomes too expensive for the community members. Same with this, and that's on the AKL side, and the same thing for the dollar side, which is a direct single purchase in USD. If anyone wants to buy that, it will cost them $31 or the equivalent in the local currency. So irrespective of which country you are, you'll be able to pay that in your local currency. You can only do that transaction on Connect, and you can only purchase it by the use of a bank card. One of the main reasons why we are doing this and why we are working toward down this road is because access to bank cards and Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and all of that on the continent, for us and for other members of the diaspora, is kind of restrictive. And if we are holding on to the objective of creating an ecosystem that allows for every single member of our community to participate in the new digital economy, then we would have to look for a way to take out some of the barriers that make it impossible for our people to participate. And one of them is the access to bank cards that you can use to participate in the new digital economy. So to get this second product, you're only able to get it on Connect, and you can only purchase it using a bank card. Obviously, only very few people have access to bank cards, and you can also only buy it for your own use. And then the third product is the bundle, where you are able to get it at an AKL or AKX price of 10 times the number of boxes that you need. This option is only available on Connect, and this can be retailed for up to 20 LUMI by members, which means you can buy it, you buy the bundle at 10 LUMI per box, multiplied by the number of boxes. And then you can decide to retail it for 11 LUMI. You can decide that you want to retail it for 12, or you want to retail it to a maximum of 20 AKL. And then the fourth product is a bundle purchase, which is AKL or USSD with USSD. And here, what you would need is 1 USD or the equivalent amount in your local currency plus 1 AKL multiplied by the number of boxes that you need for the members of your community. And on this product, we have a number of key markers that we would have to pay attention to. This is only available on a custom order via the country structures. So it means that you cannot just, the member of the community cannot just wake up and say, no, I want just to get my own 10. And then their neighbor says, oh, I also want my own 10. What needs to happen is that we will consolidate the orders across the country structures, and the orders are put through as a consolidated, an aggregated order, so that we are able to manage it efficiently. And then it's payable via bank, your local bank deposit, or bank card payment link, which you'll be able to find on Connect. It's payable with a bank card on Connect, and this can be retailed to a maximum of $2 or the equivalent of your local currency plus AKL, 2 LUMI, and it can be done by community members. Okay, can be done by community members. And then the fifth and the last option is where you have a direct purchase using AKX on Connect, which is equivalent to 15.96 USD or the equivalent of your local currency per AKX that you would spend. So for every AKX, you would need to outlay the equivalent of your local currency or 15.96 US dollar, depending on the going rate of the day of the AKL. This purchase of AKX is to enable exchange of value on Connect. So you can place your value, anything of value on Connect, on the marketplace, and anybody who wants the products will be able to pay directly using their AKX. This is only available on Connect. It's available from community members in equivalent local fiat. So, if you are in South Africa, or in Nigeria, or in Ghana, or in Sierra Leone, Liberia, you pay using your local currency to get AKX, following the processes that we'll put in place for your country. And then transfer from account into Connect, subject to implementation and transaction limits. So if you have the value in your account and you want to move it into Connect, you will be able to move it, but it has certain conditions. There are also transaction limits for that specific transaction. So you can't transact beyond a certain amount. And then the distribution as well is via country structures at a bulk discount rate. So the country structures would place the order, and the order would be fulfilled at a bulk discounted rate. Yeah. So those are the 5 areas, and those are the 5 trading and trading LUMI trading models that we are talking about, and which we shared with everyone last week, Friday, and we are just we should review it again today for proper understanding and for full context where the context was not properly given and proper context was not received. We thought we should share it again today and allow members of this community to raise any questions of understanding and clarification and all of that. At the end of the presentation on Friday, I got a message from one of our members in Liberia, and I had promised to call him on Saturday, but a lot of things have happened over the weekend, which made it not almost completely impossible for us to speak. But his message, the summary of his message was that he left the meeting on Friday very confused, and I'm not sure if Emmanuel from Liberia is here today. Maybe he can ask his question directly in the community, and we'll try to respond. Is Emmanuel here?
Oh, yes, Brother Ombe. Greetings and greetings, everybody. Greetings, Dr. Lanos.
Good evening, Emmanuel. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I hope you guys are also doing great.
We are doing okay. So, as I said in my intro to you, I got your message and we chatted, but I did not get to call you on Saturday as planned. There's just been so much going on over this weekend, and for those who have probably been to connect today, I hope everyone has been to connect at least 3 or 4 times today. You would have seen that there is a new post about another step that we will be taking. But there's a lot of things that are going on and a build up to a lot more to come on the platform. So I want to allow you the floor to ask direct questions related to what we presented, what you did not understand, and how so that we can respond to you. I would,
if I
Okay,
may come in for housekeeping, just 1 second.
Okay.
There is someone who has just come in. The name on there is IT. Anyone, someone came in and the name is IT. Please rename yourself. IT. Please rename yourself.
I will do that now. I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Brother B.
Thanks a lot, Brother Patrick. Thanks for the vigilance. Just for the understanding of everyone, we prefer that when everyone comes in, you have your actual name, because that's one of the ways we get to know who we are engaging with, who we are discussing with, and we know that we have the right people within our community who are participating in these meetings. So, Emmanuel, you have the floor. And then in the meantime, if anyone has a question, please raise your hand so that we can take it after we've gone through the questions that Emmanuel has.
All right, thank you, Brother Ambi. Thank you ever so much. So, I was in the Friday's meeting, and I was a bit confused because of the presentation. Initially, I sent a communication, as to how I thought would be best for us here in Liberia to roll out the registration, because we are working directly with the SWAT ambassador here, because he is the one who really driving this initiative, and he wants to see if he wants to see the country being registered. So initially we decided that, look, there are a lot of people who do not believe the LUMI, you know, at the time where there's a need for purchasing mailbox, you know, it would be a bit challenging to get them on board to buy mailbox to be able to, you know, have an account. So what he advised was that if we could talk to Swiving, you know, after the structuring, if we could talk to Swiving to see how the country team can pay a particular amount monthly, wherein they can put in for the mailbox and pay a particular amount to Swiving, you know, for those creating the mailbox so that they are able to buy data and, you know, some other stuff in. And then they can be creating the data for Liberia, and then we carry out the registration free of charge for the community. In that light, you will be able to have more person registering, you know, and getting on the platform. So in the process of doing that, if there is a means of the use of the LUMI in any part of the continent, now we are sure of that, you know, the LUMI is being used there, especially for the Bako local kingdom. Then we can start charging people to pay for mailbox, because at that time we would have been convinced that yes, the LUMI is being used, and we can use wherever the LUMI is used as, or you know, as a proof that the LUMI is a currency that can be used across the globe. So by that time, then you can start collecting, you know, the fees from the people, and they will be eager to register, you know, paying fees. But initially, it's like, look, let us start and do it for our country. He said he would do the investment. You know, he already gave us a place for office. He got 2 buildings. I think he just opened another office for official company, and he said he will use that for, you know, for the Bushra Island side, for another team to be on the Bushra Island side while we are in the rehab around the president's era. So we can use it. We can use the 2 offices initially to get started on the national scene, and then we start going into counties. But the initial process is, to buy the mailbox, paying a particular amount. You know, Spirit can say, look, maybe pay this amount every month, and then a team of 2 person can create a mailbox for Liberia, and then they can take that amount, you know, for that data and that stuff in. And you have to
So we are,
free.
you and I. Okay, so I think I want us to deal with that right now. So before we get to the next point.
All right.
You know, we already discussed this first part. That is what some country structures have also opted to do. It's not only in Liberia, okay? And the element of the local entity driving the process on the ground and supporting their members, getting their members to do, you know, whether it's contributions or donations for the local office and all of that. That is work that is already ongoing in some of the country structures. So on that element, we would need to still have a conversation with you guys once we are finished with all those registration things we had discussed about, right? Once we are finished with that, we also have what we call the country agreement, with certain rules and regulations that the country structures would have to adhere to. Yeah. So once we've gone past that phase, and those are things that, based on the conversation we had with you last week, we are able to conclude those things this week and get you guys in Liberia going immediately, because the office is already there. There's already the wheel on the ground and all of that. We will get you guys going as quickly as possible this week, right? And then if there's additional training that you guys would need, we would spend some time and make that happen immediately. So on that point, let's just park it, knowing that we have already started the process. We would finalize that with you guys in the course of this week, and then we can already map out a way moving forward. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the later question is about, you know, from the Friday's meeting, wherein, you know, I was confused as to where, you know, these businesses that we have to talk to come in, because one of the issues that is of concern to everybody is the issue of restocking. So I was thinking whether there is some means around that, that if you talk to the business to come in to start accepting the LUMI on the platform, I mean, whether if they ask for means to restock or whatever, there will be some answer that we could give them.
Okay.
And yes.
So the question of restocking, in fact, today we had a very interesting meeting related to that. It's a team in the meeting. We had said a team should come in. I'm not sure if he joined. If he's not there, no problem. We will get to that point where members of the community who want to put products out there would require restocking. But the first step that we have suggested is the fact that there are different ways of setting up the products in the marketplace. The first way is that you set up products that you can afford to sell in LUMI without needing to go and restock. And last week I was speaking about the fact that I could have a TV, I could have a radio, I could have something, a watch that I'm ready to sell, or a pair of shoes that I'm ready to sell for LUMI, and mainly from members of our community who live in the city where I live, right? And I post the product on my status on Connect, and also on the marketplace, so that community members can see it, and for anyone who wants the product, they can go in and buy it. That's the first thing. The second thing is literally making creating the market for the LUMI. And how are we creating a market for the LUMI as a currency, as a product? Anybody who has fiat and wants to buy LUMI would go on to their post and they would say, I want to buy the equivalent of 300 LUMIs. I want to buy the equivalent of 500 LUMIs. And those are direct products that could be bought and sold and exchanged, so that I could buy the LUMI. Let's say today the LUMI is 1596. I could buy the LUMI for 11 and resell it for 14 or 15, and not 1596. But just creating a market for the product LUMI itself and for fiat. The reason we are saying that is because we have countries and country structures that are holding cash at the moment and cannot transfer the cash. One, because they don't have a card. Two, because we are still working with them to put in place the right transmission structures for them either to make a deposit in their local currency and then they can access the product. In doing that, we're already creating a market for the LUMI itself, because when a product is advertised in LUMI as a single instrument of exchange, for you to access that product, you need the LUMI. If you don't have enough of the LUMI, then you are now compelled to come out onto Connect, come out into the marketplace and start looking for people who have the LUMI available for sale. So all of that is, all of that really creates the momentum behind the selling and the buying of LUMI, so that you are able to use the LUMI for the products on the marketplace. I want to make one other statement. I was talking about some of the plans that we are working on and that we are looking at for the marketplace. The more products, local products that we have on the marketplace, the more and products that are listed in LUMI, the more there will be available or a requirement for anyone who wants to access those products in the local market to acquire the LUMI. So the LUMI becomes a traded product as well on Connect, where you can buy it and you can sell it. So I hope this response, it's a bit maybe long-winded, but it just to give you, it was just so that it gives you perspective that we are not saying that people should put their products on the marketplace and then when they sell, they start struggling to restock. That's not what we are saying. What we are saying is that start with products that you can afford to sell in the LUMI. And then what we would do is that we are going to, because there's going to be a lot more products. Take Liberia, for example. You would have to identify traders or merchants who have products that they are ready to sell, and you help them to put those products up on Connect so that people within Liberia would be able to access those products from the members who have the products to sell. Then subsequently, anybody who doesn't have enough LUMI to buy a product, but they have fiat, they would pay the fiat and get the LUMI so that they can be able to purchase on the platform. So you would now start seeing the LUMI as the purchase tool, the single instrument of exchange, which we have been talking about. It would, it's that character of a single instrument of exchange becomes really practical at this point. So I hope this gives you perspective. It's not meant to confuse anyone. As we progress down this road, it will become a lot clearer for everyone. But we'll keep explaining and clarifying the process and why we are doing what we are doing. So okay. I hope that my response captures your sentiments or your questions or concerns.
Yes, sure. I mean, it was clear. It was clear. But I think the major issue here right now is to draft the registration process yet.
Absolutely.
And see how far we can go with that.
Absolutely. All right. Because at the level of registration, we also now start creating a bigger pool of a market that would need the LUMI and all of that. And then it becomes a cascading effect. It would have a definite cascading effect. Okay. So thank you so much. We are going to take the next person. Who is next? Brother Pat? Who is next?
I was muted. The next person is Abubakar Ahmad.
Abubakar Ahmad, your mic is off. You have the floor.
If you can hear us, please unmute and ask your question. Okay, if you are not available for now, we will come back to you later. The next person is Sister Emma.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Sister Emma.
I'm happy to be back. Now my question is about...
We are happy to have you, Sister Emma. Thank God for you, for your life. We are really happy that you are back with us and that even though the toll from you. They didn't steal you. They stole from you. They didn't steal you.
Yes.
Welcome back, Sister Emma. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's good to
My
have you.
question is about, for now we are recruiting country structures, agents. So far we have a big list. So my question is it a must those agents to have mailbox, or they will just use their emails and Gmail?
No, everybody who is part of the country structure must get a Swift inbox. There's a number of reasons for that. We don't want people who would be in the field, and then when there's a transaction that they need to support, they are unable to support it because they are waiting for communication to come into Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, or all the other cool mails and all of that. And then the communication is not going through. Then it delays them, it delays the members, it disturbs the process and all of that. So every single person who is part of the country structures would need to get a mailbox. Every single person.
Now, the way we are setting the list, do we now set the second list for mailbox, or you just use the list that you are sending?
So when we are still going to do the list for Kenya. I think your meeting is on Friday, right?
Yes.
Is it Friday? Okay.
Yes.
So my hope is that it's not going to be like last week that we struggled to connect. My hope is that we would get to connect properly, and then we would have a detailed conversation on how the process is going to work in terms of mailboxes and all of that. Remember, just from the presentation I was making, one of the key elements is that every single agent, leader who is part of the country structure would need to send their, so we have said it could be every week, it could be once a month, where you say, I would need 10 mailboxes for my community. And then the other agent would say, I need 20. And the national level for the country, you guys will put that complete list together, and then you make the order once, so that we don't have, for example, in Kenya, you already have about more than 100 and something people. Imagine that we are getting lists from 100 and something people. It becomes a whole lot of chaos. So we want to centralize it and make sure that it's coming centrally from the country structures. It could be a weekly request or a monthly request. It could even be a bi-monthly request. We're not restricting it, because as people start registering a lot more going into the next few weeks, you may think that you only need 20. Before it's the end of the day, you realize that you need 40. So we're leaving it open, but making sure that the orders that come should be aggregated and come in as one order for all, everyone within the country. It could just be 3 people who have ordered from within the country. It doesn't have to be everyone, but the hope is that everyone will be able to place their own order every week or every month or bi-monthly or bi-monthly, and then they are able to use those to activate the people or the accounts that they would have put out. So is there any other question related to that, Sister Emma?
No, I've understood now. I'll give them message. Now,
Okay.
on Friday, please give us the link.
Okay. So you will send me a message on Friday morning so that we don't forget.
Oh. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Please send us a message Friday morning.
Brother B, if I can just add a quick comment. Obviously, it might sound counterintuitive that we're asking people to get a mailbox before they create an account at the time when we are saying that we want to have as many people as possible register. Think about that. But what we are saying is based on data. It is based on evidence. It is based on the fact that some people tried to create an account many months ago, and the activation email link was never delivered to them. Still today, they don't still have access to the account. Now, if we carry on this way, we can go on the street tomorrow and register a lot of people. If those accounts cannot be activated, then they will not be registered. Take, for example, a SWIFT ID. Even if you sign up, we all know that you need to activate the email that is sent. You need to click on that important link that is sent to you to activate the email account. And only when you activate the email account will the system generate a SWIFT ID for you. So even if you try to rush to register ahead of a stimulus payment, if your account has not been activated and your SWIFT ID has not been generated, you will not receive that stimulus payment. So instead of actually rushing to register people with email addresses that they may not get, the data that we have suggests that when people get the SWIFT mailbox, they will be able to go through that process much quicker. We have thought about it long and hard. We have observed the data that we have, and the evidence suggests that if you get a SWIFT mailbox, you will be able to complete the registration process on Connect, on Account, and on Transact much quicker. So that way, it will actually speed up the process of onboarding more people. Just think about that. I'm sure amongst us here, either there would be some people who registered many months ago and they still have not received an activation link, or at least they know people who have suffered that problem. At the same time, we know that everybody, or at least the vast majority of people who have registered with a SWIFT mailbox have been able to activate those accounts. We have demonstrated that here many times. So please, let's do the right thing. Let's follow the right path so that we can scale and get this service into the hands of many people. A reliable and accessible and working email account is vital. In fact, it is necessary. That's why we've introduced this mailbox service. A year ago, we did not have the mailbox service. It was created to solve a problem. So please, let's use it and let's speed up the process of onboarding people so that we can reach more households, reach more people, and create the kind of community that we want, that is truly inclusive, truly accessible, so that we can all begin to use our common instrument of exchanging value in our daily trade. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Linus. I think, you know, just to re-emphasize what Dr. Linus has said, the evidence for what we are doing now comes from, you know, real data, where we were having thousands and thousands of emails that the system was struggling to send out, and those emails were not getting delivered. And we showed it on you know, during some of the daily briefings, where the system would actually because people were opening accounts with dummy email addresses that don't exist, and we will be wasting system capacity, that members should be using for productive activity, just sending emails that are bouncing and sending emails that are bouncing, and then the system is slow because of that. Meanwhile, members need the system to be going fast so that they can do the things they need to do on the system efficiently. So it comes from a history of knowledge and looking at the system and making a determination, this is what is better for us to do. And when people actually end up in trouble with their email addresses, we also found it very difficult to support them because they are third-party systems. They are not, it's not an internal system that we could say, okay, let's take a look and see how we can help you to resolve the problem. So it's all those reasons that made us to come to this place where we say the mailbox is an important component, it's an important unit of the entire ecosystem. And just to take it one step further, we cannot be saying that we want to give access to everyone into the new digital economy, and we still have people who should have an email address, but they really don't have an email address. So that's why we have set it up in this way, so that it simplifies and facilitates the process for everyone. Brother Patrick, who is next? I see 3 hands. I think these are the questions we are going to take to close the day. Yes. Vincent, Emmanuel, and Pamela. Just those 3.
Yes, and the next one is Vincent. Vincent Okoro, if you may unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone in the house.
Good evening, brother.
How are you?
My special greeting to all the officials for the amazing work you are putting on the ground. Let me go straight to my question and suggestions. Right now, my side, I have over 80 new members that did not have Swift ID. And my team too do their own. If we add together, we have over 200 members that we have carried out the information on Swifting. But the challenge we have in here is on issue of valid or our email that will not rebounce. Now on this, I'm suggesting, is there no how, or I'm asking, is there no how the house can provide provision for any new member that have not have ID, Swifting ID, to be able to get Swifting mail, so that in terms of registration, it will not be an issue that will deny these new members from being registered.
Good question, Vincent. I think what we would do, we need to have a discussion on that, because it could be a potential delay point. But my suggestion is that we maintain the process as is. We are really hoping that we have the meeting that we're supposed to have with Nigeria this week, so that we can resolve some of these issues. I remember that you had raised this issue with us, and that we needed to discuss it and come to some kind of an understanding on how this is going to work. We don't want to restrict access. We don't want to restrict registration. We actually want to continuously increase and expand the registration as much as possible. So let's have a conversation in the course of this week, and hopefully when we have the Nigeria meeting, which I'm sure you will be present, we would go into the details of it, and we need to come up with a plan of how to move forward. You are, Vincent, you are speaking like that. I know that there's other leaders in Nigeria who have 100, 200, 300 accounts that they need to activate, and with new email boxes, who have already reached out. So we need to consolidate and finalize the things for Nigeria this week, so that those leaders can start getting the process off the road. So we'll deal with this issue this week.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
The Nigeria meeting this week, I didn't know whether the day and the time has been fixed.
It's not been fixed. That's something that Dr. Linus and I will work on tomorrow morning. And then,
all right,
once we're looking at maybe Thursday or Friday, the regular time that we have always had it. But we will see. Dr. Linus and I need to work on that tomorrow morning, and then we'll come back to you guys on the exact details.
all right. I'm very grateful, and I will be very happy to see that some of these issues is fixed. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Brother B. The next question, Emmanuel Essien. If you may unmute yourself and ask your question. Emmanuel Essien.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to attend this great meeting. I am also speaking in Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigeria has a lot of potentials, and then a lot of members that I have, more than 1,000, they have not yet activated their accounts, simply because of the email that my brother is just talking about. I don't know if this email of a thing could be in such a way that our members can have access. Because when I discussed with them about the subscribing in terms of money to pay and then get the mail, that was when the reaction started coming in and complain. LUMI, we haven't started using it, and you're asking us to pay money, and then before we can get our account activated.
Yes. you are. This is the we are having these conversations, especially in Nigeria.
Yeah.
There are things that we are looking at putting in place, which would make it a lot easier for you guys. So let's see how we can organize ourselves for this week, so that when we make those possibilities available, then everybody would be able to do. Let me just give you an example. In Senegal, I don't know if Moro Tieno is here. In Senegal, this is what they have done.
Okay.
So I think before I even go there, the one point that we all have to constantly be doing is that I'm always harping on this element of co-creation. That this movement, we are co-creating it and using evidence to build from one level to the next.
Okay.
And how we co-creating? We are co-creating in the sense that you are using the realities of the local environment, and we are sharing amongst ourselves. We have a sense of what is working and what is not working.
Yeah.
And then we take a look at it and say, okay, but in this environment, how can we make it work? What can we do to make sure that it works? So I'll give you an example. For Senegal, what they have done is that they have said, if you want to be a leader in this movement, you would have to make a contribution.
Okay.
And part of that contribution, they've used it to rent an office, furnish that office.
Wow.
And then part of it, They've used it to cover their mailboxes and all of that. So as a leader in this movement, we did not tell them what to do in Senegal. They came back to us and say, this is what we have decided to do. You know?
Yeah.
And we said, go ahead, carry on and do it. And they've done it. And it's working. So as a community, we have to be coming up with all these ingenious ideas and looking at the environment and coming up with clever models, like what our brother Emmanuel Newton from Liberia was saying. They've sat down, looked at their own environment and said, this is how we are going to do it here.
Yeah.
So the idea is for us to jointly think about how is it going to work in Nigeria? What do we need to put in place to make sure that it works in Nigeria? And that is the question we need to be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
And asking ourselves and coming up with solutions, because why are we doing this? We are trying to look for a solution for an age-old problem that no one is going to solve for us as Africans. No one is going to solve this problem for us. So we need to be thinking about it and coming up with a solution. And when you come up with a solution, it may be something that we cannot do now. It may be something that we can do immediately.
Okay.
You know, and we are not, the leadership team, we are not, how do I call it? We are not the only ones who have the most innovative ideas in the world. We are depending on everyone in the community. And when we get feedback from members of the community, it helps us to refine our thinking. It helps us to propel the entire movement forward. Yeah. So that is my suggestion. That's my suggestion. Yeah.
Okay. Please. Finally, I try to transact. I try to move my money from a Swift account to transact, and I kept receiving an email that my transaction has not been successful. So initially, when I opened Transact, I did a transfer from my Swift account to Transact. It was successful. And then when I wanted to do another one, it kept sending me a mail and then telling me I couldn't do that. So I wouldn't know what was the real problem. I wouldn't really know what.
Is Sister Lumba here? She's the global leader for transactions. Sister Lumba here. She was here with us and then we lost her and then she came back on her mobile. Yeah, connectivity is actually a problem. Okay, so we would need to hold on to your question when maybe tomorrow during the briefing. You can post your question and Sister Lumba is going to respond to you.
Okay, that will be good.
Okay. Yeah, because if you keep receiving a message, that message will be saying something and it means something. So she will be here and she will share it with you. She was here. I think we just lost her because her connectivity has not been good. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
And then the last person for the evening would be Sister Pamela.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good afternoon. For some people, it's good morning even.
Okay. I've got 3 questions. The first one is when sending the link for people to register on their email, do we have to send one for the Connect and one for the SwiftN? Could they do both registration on the same link that we sent?
Okay, you are asking whether when someone wants to register, whether the links for registration are different for Connect, for Account, and for Transact.
Do I have to send it 2 times? Because obviously there's a box in Connect for name and email, and there's 2 in Swiffen, but the one at the Swiffen, the bottom of Swiffen doesn't, we was told that won't connect the person to you. So we have to go to register member plus the email and the name. That's the one that I'm now using. However, for the connect, do we have to use the one in connect, or could they register on that one sent from the Swiffen where it says register member? Could we? You understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah. So that's the link you send out.
Yeah, I go to register member. I go to register member and put their email in. So I want to know, instead of, do I still have to go back and send another one from Connect?
No. Once you've put the email address and say register member, the member will receive that link, and then they are able to follow it.
So they could register on Connect and on Swiffen with that same one link.
Yes.
So, just wanted to clarify that, because somebody asked me, if my invite asked me that today. The other one is, I've registered someone have registered in and get a mailbox because they couldn't get the 16-digit number and the link. So, but still they, on the normal email that they registered with for us in December, they haven't got they still haven't got the 16-digit number and they can't get to their comment. So what do I tell them?
So do they get a mailbox yet?
They get the mailbox after they couldn't get the 16-digit number and couldn't log on to Connect. So, but now they still, for like since December to now, they still haven't got a 16-digit number. Our Connect.
No. So hold on. When did they get the mailbox?
Sometime back, Dr. Linus helped them. I think it was early last month. Charlotte?
February.
Yeah, it was Charlotte.
But they should have gotten a verification email. So what needs to happen is that we would have to trigger a verification email for them, and that's for Connect, right?
They haven't got Swiffen. They haven't got the 16-digit Swiffen number, and the Connect did send them a link, but when they try to use the link, it's not letting them in.
Okay, so the Connect link, they need to click the link and open it.
Yes, so they did all that. I spent time. That's why she had to get the mailbox, but the 16-digit number never came through.
So what needs to happen then, Sister Pamela, is that you need to, Brother Patrick is here, go into, the person needs to go into the ticket, send a ticket. Brother Patrick would deal with her step by step. Yeah.
Okay, and my last question is, I have some people, they want to register other members of family, but they haven't got a smartphone or they haven't got a phone. Could they use the same mobile number to register, but once they have a different email?
Same number. The element of phone, they have to use different phone numbers as well. At the moment, we have not made it a critical identifier, but it is going to become a critical identifier. So
it's just that people are quite old, and they have old phone and they don't know technology.
Well, but they have a phone number, right?
Some of them, some haven't.
Oh, okay.
So what do I tell you?
It would really at some point they would struggle when it becomes a critical identifier. So the suggestion is that everybody should use their phone number, and then we can create the email addresses for them to be activated. That's the suggestion.
That is if they have a phone, but if they have a phone, they're excluded.
Yeah. But I'm sure it's not many people, right? I don't think it's a lot of people. It could be one or two people, not because even, some of the oldest people out here, 90, 95, 92, they are still, some of them are even on tablets and going on Facebook and things like that.
You're saying having a modern phone is not necessary. Is that what you're saying?
No, so I'm saying, yes, I'm saying that If they don't have a smartphone, they have a mobile number, they have an email address, we are able to activate their account, because all the person who is helping them would open their email address on their device and help to activate their account.
Okay,
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So you still left those ones who haven't got a phone. Anyway, sorry, I have a last piece of question based on what Vince, I think it's Vincent, anyway, I was going to ask the question anyway, but my bit to that is those people who have registered in December and even November, because I've registered some of them, and they haven't got even a welcome with a link, are they not missing out? What is going to happen to those people, because they're still waiting? And I know what they're thinking, but obviously.
So if they had registered, they should have. If they have not, did they use the mailbox, or they are using their Gmail, Yahoo, and Hotmail kind of email addresses? Hello. Hello, Sister Pamela. We lost you. Okay, so I will just respond in saying that if they have their Swift email addresses, then they should be able to, if they have not received the verification, they should reactivate and reset so that they can get a new verification. If they can't, they can send a ticket so that we go through their account comprehensively to see where there is an issue, because normally they should be able to receive a verification email. I think that's it, folks. Thank you guys so much for this evening. It's been a pleasure to spend the last hour and a few minutes with you, going through some of the steps that we are taking going forward and looking at how we improve what we do on a daily basis, one step at a time, and looking at how we expand this movement into the hands of everyone in the continent and in the diaspora. Dr. Linus, your parting shot.
Thank you very much, Brother B. It was a great evening with excellent deliberations. I hope many of us will walk away from here with greater clarity. As we have indicated, what we are doing hasn't been done before, and that's why there are age-old problems that have continued to impact our people and have impacted our people for many, many years. And so we admit that we may arrive at certain times and face certain challenges which we haven't seen before, or which we were not expecting. Just hold on 1 second, please. Sorry about that. I had some background noise on my side. So what we need to do is make sure that we maintain the confidence and the will to find solutions to any challenges that come our way. Now, if the path to where we want to be was very clear, then we would be there already. The fact that it has taken so many decades, so many generations, and we still have these challenges around us is testament to the magnitude of the kind of challenges we are facing. But we are resolved as a community to find the answers. A case in point is the email issue. 12 months ago, we were not talking about this. We only started looking at how do we address the email problem when we noticed that thousands of messages that were being sent out every day were being returned undelivered. And then we looked at ourselves and said, well, we're not going to stop now. We have to find an answer. We had to create email servers and systems to handle the delivery and storage of those messages on the fly. We didn't plan for it because we assumed that everybody has an email address that works. We didn't factor in the fact that if you are sending out millions and millions of messages every week, that you could be facing a different kind of challenge or problem. And so as we fix these problems, let's just bear in mind that we need to exercise patience, understanding, and great resolve to keep going. That once faced with a challenge, we either go around it, over it, or through it, until we get to a final destination of ensuring that we have inclusive access for all, and we are all exchanging value with our singular instrument of exchange, which is the African Kingdom's LUMI, across our community. So we have to keep going. We must never give up. We must never lose sight of where we're going. The road to our destination may be rough, but we will get there. We will only get there if we keep going. Now, the one thing that has come up time and time again is the issue of cost. Why should people pay for an email? Of course, you can get one for free from Gmail. You can get one for free from Yahoo Mail. You can get one for free from Hotmail. Well, that's Hotmail. That's Gmail. That's Yahoo Mail. And those are the same email services which our community members have tried to use time and time again, and they have failed us. So we find a solution. Unfortunately, we need to cover the cost of the infrastructure. The emails, messages need to be secure. They need to be stored. They need to be deliverable instantly. There is no point saying that you need water in your house if you're not prepared to pay for a storage tank and the pipes that can get you the water. So let's do the right thing. Let's make sure that we can sustain the kind of necessary infrastructure that we are putting in place. It is necessary. You know, it's a bit like saying, well, I like a car, but I don't really want to pay for a road to drive on. So let's keep going. Let's address the challenges as they come. Let's fix them. Let's solve them. Let's keep going. That's what we need to do. That's the only way we'll get to the ultimate destination of ensuring equitable access for all and the use of our common instrument for exchanging value. Let's think outside of the box. The one thing that we can continue to assure the community is that nothing that we do is based out of on the cuff. No, we look at the data, we look at the evidence, we look at the problem, and we come up with the best way to address the problem. We will keep doing that because we believe that inclusive access for all is necessary. It's a vital need. We are at a point where access or exclusion to many across the continent is a crisis. It is a crisis. That crisis, we need to address it. We can't sweep it under the carpet anymore because it will get worse. Many will be left on the sideline. Many will not be empowered to participate in the real modern economy. The African continental free trade, for example, is one of the biggest wealth creation opportunities in our time. We don't want that to pass by many people who cannot still transact with their neighbor, let alone the 54 countries within continental Africa. Let's empower the artist in Nigeria to produce a piece of art and get somebody in South Africa to buy it instantly in real time. That's the kind of ecosystem we have to create. These things take challenges, take foresight, vision, commitment, and daily action to address the problems. That's what we must keep doing. On that note, I bid you all a very good night and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you guys so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and looking forward to catching up with you guys again tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
One way.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you for the best.
Good night. I miss you all.
Oh, good night, good night, good night, good night.
One way. One way.
Ula. Nala. Good
I
night,
love
everyone.
you from Uganda.